we have Diane. And so Diane is a former educator of 12 years of experience working in middle school as well as biology, and has now works with PASS as far as helping schools explore the SEL world as well as improve their practices involved in SEL. So I hope that works for you, Diane. If you've got anything else to add, please feel free to add. And I'll now hand it on over to you. Oh, Diane, you're muted.
There we go. Okay, so this is only the second time I've ever used Teams. So how do I present?
Are you looking to share something?
Yes.
So it should be in the top right corner. You'll see like a leave, a hang up button, and then beside it, it'll either be share or 3 buttons.
Okay, so I see 3 buttons. All right.
Diane, it's right beside the mic button.
Oh, there we okay.
Yeah, it's right beside the mic or the leave button. So don't leave.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for your patience as we created a new link. We had a bit of a glitch with that link that was sent out. So most of you now are in there. So that's great. Matt was having a panic when we only had 3 people in there. So, and thanks to Diane for joining us as well. I know she had a busy day today and is running from meeting to meeting. So thank you for that, Diane.
Okay. I don't know if I don't know how to tell if you're seeing what I'm, I have a slide presentation, but I don't know seeing it on my end, on your end.
No, I think right now we're just seeing the actual Teams meeting.
Okay. Yeah, okay, here we go. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, now we have it.
Okay,
The Emozi online
all
trainer.
right. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I think I have to get to the right spot because I think I'm in the wrong spot, but I apologize for this. Let me get to the right spot. Okay. I apologize to all of you. And if it makes any of you feel any better out there, I have also spent a full 8 hours in PD sessions today. So, I feel you very much at this point. Hi, my name is Diane Mondoro, and I'm here to talk to you about SEL culture in your school. So just a little bit about, that we wanted to talk about what is social emotional learning, how do PADS and Emozi programs help your students, your family, and your staff, how can you incorporate SEL in the classroom, getting to know a little bit about the PADS and Emozi curriculum, an overview of what especially the Emozi training looks like, and then hopefully we'll have some time for some questions and answers. Here we go. So just to start out with, what is social emotional learning? It's an integral part of education and human development. SEL is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. SEL advances educational equity and excellence through authentic school, family, community partnerships. So if you can see on this wheel here, you're going to see that SEL starts in the classroom. So those of you who are teachers out there, if you're doing any of the PADS or Emozi curriculum, you're in the classroom, you're giving the lessons. Hopefully your school also has an SEL culture where some of the vocabulary or some of the strategies that you're teaching in the classroom will be used throughout the school. We also include families and caregivers. So in the PADS and Emozi curriculum, you're going to find letters and updates to the families so that they understand what's being taught in the classroom, and maybe they can even use some of those techniques at home as well. And again, we want to make sure that we're incorporating the entire community so that our entire that everybody's understanding what SEL is and how it is to be used. So we want to establish all these partnerships to establish learning environments and experiences that feature trusting and collaborative relationships, rigorous and meaningful curriculum and instruction, and ongoing evaluation. SEL can help address various forms of inequity and empower young people and adults to co-create thriving schools and contribute to safe, healthy, and just communities. So,
Diane, I'm sorry, you
yes,
can say the microphone is right now just kind of going in and out. I don't know if
uh,
there's.
it must be my connection. Um, I can you hear me now?
It's the same. It's kind of like a robotic.
Oh no. Okay, hold on. Let me try
Yeah.
one thing. All right. Okay, does that work any better?
Yes, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay, so we'll go with that. All right. So real quick, you're going to see this wheel where you see self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision making, relationship skills, and social awareness. So I don't know if anybody wants to shout out, if everybody wants to shout out at once. In your classroom, which of these do you think is the most important thing for your students in your classroom to learn?
Self-awareness.
Okay, I heard that one. Everybody in agreement, or again, different people, different, they may have different opinions about this. So let's just say everybody's in agreement. Everybody thinks that self-awareness is one of the most important things your students can learn. Which of these five do you think your students have the greatest struggle the most with?
Self-management.
Okay, and any of these would be valid answers, but yes, I can definitely see, having worked in schools in different age groups, how yes, self-management is a huge problem, for a lot of students. So our program will actually give them some strategies that will help to improve their self-management, and then hopefully eventually, develop in all of these five different areas. So why do we do this? Why should we use this curriculum? Why should we bother knowing about social emotional learning? So numerous studies show that SEL contributes to a positive school environment. Effective SEL programs have shown improvements in academic achievement and reductions in bullying behavior. So time spent on SEL is a great investment. In fact, social emotional competence is needed for academic success. You can imagine that a class with aggressive, disruptive, argumentative students will not learn as well as a class made up of cooperative, problem solving, and effective communicators. SEL is an essential part of a student's overall education because a child's emotions affect how well he or she learns. Indeed, learning in any subject is partly a social and partly an emotional process. That's because how you feel can affect how well you pay attention or retain information. SEL contributes to school success by contributing to students' social awareness and self-management. See, there you go. Also, SEL skills are important for success in the family, the community, and later on in the workplace. So as you can see that by using, and this is research that has been validated, that using an SEL program will lead to an 11% increase in academic achievement, a 31% increase in overall social competence. We see 26% more students regulating their emotions. We see 35% more students with pro-social behavior, helping others, sharing with each other, having some empathy. We see an 18% reduction in aggressive behavior, and a 21% reduction in internalizing behavior, social withdrawal, not being able to socialize with peers, not being able to express ourselves and our emotions in the correct, not correct, but appropriate manner. One thing that that our training does is it actually talks a lot about the different parts of your brain and how, and a lot of you teachers, I think, can relate to this. When we get emotional, that part of our brain or those parts of our brains take over. And if we're emotional, we can't actually make rational decisions. The emotional parts of our brain suppress the rational parts of our brain. So I don't know about all of you, but I know sometimes if I get an angry parent email, I have to sit on that email for 24 hours. I have to let my emotions subside, and then I can then come up with a rational response. Your students are no different. Your students may take a little bit longer than that for their emotional responses to tamp down a little bit and to get to their rational behavior. So SEL and the PADS and Emozi curriculums can help give you strategies and help give your students strategies to get past this. Okay, so we have two programs, and we've got Emozi is a comprehensive social emotional learning program that aligns with the collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning. That's CASEL. There are 5 SEL competencies of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. It draws from decades of research into SEL, the latest scientific studies on emotions, effective pedagogical strategies for middle school students. Try to say that 3 times fast. And best practices for teaching culturally relevant curriculum. And it's one of the things that I think is really great about the program is that depending on what's going on in the world or going on in your community or going on in your school, you can find examples in the PADS and Emozi curriculum that can help you to deal with that and help your students learn how to manage their emotions in those situations. Both PADS and Emozi draws from past and current research to provide a meaningful framework for educators. The great thing about both PADS and Emozi, so they are both research and evidence-based. And one of the things that teachers like about it is that it really is instructor-led. You are in control of your classroom. You know your students best. So you get to pick and choose what's going to work for you. You're the one that drives it. It's not, throw a video up there and have the students watch it for, 30 minutes. That's not what this is all about. It's about teacher leading and guiding and then engaging students in the lessons. Okay. So yes, just to kind of go over it again. So CASEL, which you can go to casel.org, and they have lots of information about SEL, and you're going to get that in the PADS and Emozi training. Correlates directly with SEL. So CASEL was actually the organization that first minted the phrase social emotional learning. Again, research informed and very culturally relevant for today. Okay. So one thing that PADS and Emozi do is they address the challenges and teaching needs for learners. So with PADS and with Emozi, there's no need to build in extra SEL time. Emozi has direct academic connections and up to a school year's worth of fully scripted 30-minute lessons. It's been designed to promote face-to-face interaction, building supportive classroom communities, and positive school climates. We understand that you may not need an entire year's worth of information, but those resources are there and available to you for you to pick and choose from. It promotes student voice and choice through student-led activities, role playing, and other active learning strategies. And one of the things I think is great about the program is that it doesn't just teach your students the steps to a strategy, but it actually has them brainstorming situations where they might need it and role playing through it. So they get practice in the classroom before they then have to go out and use that information in a different setting, maybe out on the playground or at recess, or maybe out at an after school activity. Optional activities can be integrated into other academic subject areas to build a culture of SEL through the schools. So, for example, they have a Socratic seminar strategy. So, those of you who, if you have used the Socratic seminar strategy, and I know that even as a high school science and business teacher, I have used that strategy in my class. It can be integrated into ELA classes, and it includes popular young adult literature. It is culturally relevant and meaningful content. It's specifically designed for the challenges and pressures that are faced by today's teens, such as bullying, interpersonal relationships, and self-confidence. So all those problems that teens are facing today, this curriculum is up to date in helping that your students to find their way through and to grow emotionally and socially. Another great thing is it connects to family and caretakers. So there is built-in family communication letters and newsletters that keep parents informed and engaged. So you will find those, and I'll show you where those are in a couple minutes. They're on the website, so I'll show you where you can find that information, and then you can send those letters out so that your parents, your caregivers can know exactly what's happening, and then they can start using the same verbiage as you might be using in your classroom. Family involvement. So each classroom implementation package includes printable letters. And there's handouts, there's at-home activities. It is available in both English and Spanish materials for PADS, and English, Spanish, and French materials for Emozi. So again, so that we're trying to be culturally aware of differences between different factors in the community. So that's all available for you. This ensures that teachers hand out the family communication items provided for students to take home. And there's optional materials that can be sent home with students to encourage family interest and regular use of PADS concepts. So these meetings with PADS are a good time to build parent interest in PADS program content. Some educators send PADS information up to parents even before the meeting so they know what's going on. So find out if you can drop in on scheduled parent-teacher meetings to talk about the PADS programs. All right, so here's an example of what is in a PADS program package. I know a lot of you here are for Emozi, but I just kind of want you to know that where your students are coming from. Like they've had PADS in 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade, so they're going to get a curriculum manual. So there are fully scripted, easy to teach lessons, and each lesson has 3 parts. There's the preparing for the lesson. So you've got the lesson objectives and any materials that are needed. So if you need to write that into your lesson plans, it's right there. It gives you a complete script and in-lesson instructions, so that again, this is turnkey for you. If we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to run this in your classroom. And then there are post-lesson reminders and suggestions for extension activities and follow-up guidance. So again, PADS is for K to 5, and what you're all here for is for Emozi, right? So I'm showing you here specifically Emozi grade 6 has 3 units with 12 30-minute lessons, and each lesson includes 4 optional activities. Each unit is based on a high-interest, award-winning young adult mentor text. So we've got A Wrinkle in Time, Walk to Moons, and A Long Walk to Water. Some of the key topics that are addressed in the Emozi grade 6 curriculum include building self-confidence, understanding and appreciating personal strengths, using empathy to stand up to bullying, mindfulness, growth mindset, and decision making. So, if there's a certain topic, do I need to go through all these? Well, these are some of the ones that we would definitely recommend that you spend some time doing. We are giving you these options of these 3 books. If you don't want to use them and you want to use something else, again, the beauty of Emozi is that you get to choose. So if you get a copy of these books. If it's something that you want to add in, that's great. You have it here, and we've got all the information for you. If you choose to do something else, that's okay. Again, you know your students better than anybody else does. So the lesson structure for Emozi is there's going to be a warm-up activity. So each grade's printed teacher guide includes an overview of the main lessons called Teach the Concept, and 4 optional activities, including the self-regulation strategy, the gratitude challenge, Socratic seminar using the mentor text, and the reflection activity. Each activity can be integrated into different classrooms and subject matters to extend the lesson beyond the main concept. So we have a warm-up activity, an explanation of the concept mixed with class discussion. Again, we want the students involved in this. A deeper dive into the concept with an ask, detail, and model, and an option for the students to try it for themselves, by themselves, or in pairs. So again, it gives you options as to how you want your students, and it allows you to mix things up. So maybe in one unit, you might choose to have students do the activity on their own. Maybe in another unit, you'd say, okay, you know, something, I think this would be better in a small group. So it gives you those options, and it will explain how to run each of those options. And then it has a wrap up at the end to, you know, tie your lesson together. So again, each grade level, so we have a grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. Each level contains 3 units. Each unit has 12 lessons. Each lesson contains 5 30-minute activities. So that means each program contains 180 sessions worth of content. We understand you may not be doing this every day, but you get to pick and choose what you think is most important. So you don't have to do a half-hour lesson every day. It means you have one must-do lesson and then 4 activities that you get to choose from every single week. All right, so Emozi support available online for each lesson. So what I'm going to do is I am going to see if I can change my screen and take you over to the website. Okay. All right, so here we go. So I already logged in. So you'll see this website, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see the Emozi program. So yes, we actually are going through a system update. It's not available yet, but we are hoping that, you know, it will be soon. And, you know, when that does, we will certainly, it'll be a much more user-friendly experience. But here we have the grade 6. So we have the teacher guide. So if you go here, and if you're, you know, just starting out, maybe you want to start on lesson 1 for A Wrinkle in Time. So if you click here, all right, so it's going to take you to, here's your introduction to emotion. So here are your, here is your core curriculum, here standards, here's your essential questions, here's the CASEL competency that you're going to be fulfilling by using this lesson, and what your objective is. So if you're writing a lesson plan, your objective is right here. Again, here's the teach the concept information. So what vocabulary you'll be using. So here's your discussion, again, pre-scripted for you. You know, ask students to share their responses, and here, and you can see, you know, what you're going to say, and you let your students, you know, accept student responses. You let them respond. They're going to accept their responses and confirm or correct as needed. Here is your details. So this explains a lot of the brain science behind what it is that you're asking your students to do. You're going to model it for them, and then you ask them to try it. So at that point, you know, you're going to have them go to the study guide and do something. And then at the end, they have the wrap up. So just a time for them to reflect on what they've learned from this lesson. And again, if you want, there are ways to extend the lesson at the bottom. Okay, so that's just an example of one lesson that you can find on the Emozi website. If you go down here, they have additional, additional lesson resources for each unit. So if you click, they'll go through and, they'll talk about, okay, so lesson 4, using compassion to stand up to bullying. So again, if you want to extend the lesson, you can go to these other resources that are available for you. Socratic seminar. So for each of the books, it actually walks you through, it gives you the protocol for how to run a Socratic seminar. It gives you the rubric so that you can grade students on, their participation in the Socratic seminar. So that's available to you. Down the bottom, we have our home connection letters. So again, whether you send them out before you begin the unit, during the unit, or after the end of the unit, the connection letters are here in English, French, and in Spanish. Down the bottom, for any of your counselors, there's a counselor's guide, there's an administrator's guide, there's your posters, and we have the DESA mini assessment. So this is a really great place to find additional resources that you might need. Because again, if you have the kit, you're going to get a hard copy of your lessons. You'll have the student book, you'll have the books, but this is just additional information, additional resources for you to use. So let me just go back here for a second. Okay. Oh, all right. Now I want to talk a little tiny bit. We only have a couple of minutes left. I think I'm going a little bit over time, but we started a little bit late. So for PADS, if you've ever done the PADS online training, there are 6 modules in the training. It's all online. It's 3 hours long. It's self-paced, and there's videos in there that really explain SEL. So in the PADS training, you learn what's in a PADS kit. You learn about SEL and child development. It goes from 0 to age 12. Module 3 talks about what are some of the instruction and specific classroom routines that PADS uses. Module 4 talks about, what is emotional coaching. Module 5 gives you information about problem solving and how to incorporate that into your classroom. And Module 6 includes tools for social emotional learning. Emozi set up a little bit differently. Emozi goes a lot more into brain research. All right. So module 1, we'll talk about what SEL is, go into way more detail than what I went into. It'll talk about SEL competencies and constructed view of emotions. And for those of you that may not know this, I know I studied psychology a really long time ago. So when I studied psychology, it was, we were told that one part of the brain does one thing and one part of the brain does something else. That's not true. So they've done research and they found out that your emotions are actually, your emotional responses come from various parts of the brain, not just one part. So you'll learn that, and it helps you to understand your students a little bit better. And again, this training is bundled with every classroom package. So I'm just going to give you a quick spin over and show you what this looks like. And again, we are actually updating the Emozi content, but you're going to get a course syllabus, all right, that's going to take you and kind of tell you, all right, so here we go. What is the syllabus? And you're going to, read some information, and you're going to say that, yes, I've seen the syllabus. Module 1, the introduction to Emozi. So you're going to go through and you're going to watch a video and get some of that information. All right, so here you go. Talks you through that. So here's your, license. Here's your question. You'll have to. One of the cool things about this training program is it actually gives you a sense of community, because teachers from all around the world are coming on and they're answering a discussion question. And you're asked not only to give your own answer, but to actually look at somebody else's question and add on. So it just gives you an idea of what's happening around the rest of the world, and to realize that, you're not alone in doing this. So there's reading material, there's a video, and then there's an assessment at the end. Module 2 is social emotional learning basics. Module 3 is, more information about SEL, and then there is a wrap up. So all the units in training kind of look the same, where you're going to have some pre-course reading, you're going to have a discussion question to answer, you'll have a presentation to watch, and then you'll have, a little assessment just to make sure that you understand the concepts behind Emozi. Okay, so like I said, I know I went a minute or two over, a couple minutes over, but we started a little bit late. So anybody have any questions questions for me that I can answer? I'm going to see if I can stop sharing now. There we go. I know that was a lot of information I threw at you. So if there's anything that you want to ask that I can answer, please go ahead. And if I can't get you the answer now, I will get it for you tomorrow.
Is there a link that we can use?
For which one? For what?
Well, just for the program itself.
Okay, so the training, yes, there'll be a link for the training. The training is online, so you'll receive a link to the training. And yes, there is a separate link for the online resource, and you will have access to that as well. We are working on changing up our platform so that the training and the resources will be actually located on the same platform, but that'll probably be coming maybe early next year. Are there any other questions that I can answer for you about the program, about SEL, about the importance of it? Okay, I know that you're at the end of your day, and I appreciate that. So if there are no more questions, I want to thank you for spending some time with me today, and hopefully you've learned a little bit more about our program. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask us.
Okay, so I have a question and I cannot type for some reason.
Okay.
My name is Agnes, and I was wondering, what is the difference between the regular PATS program and Emozi? Is there
PATS sets you up for the Emozi program. The PATS program, in some ways, they are similar in that they are trying to make sure that they're touching on all 5 social emotional competencies. PATS programs is really a little bit more basic and really teaching your students some of the classroom routines that they're going to need to be successful in the K-5 situation, right? In elementary school. Emozi starts looking at adolescence because we know that students' brains start changing during adolescence. So Emozi takes a look at those problems in particular. For example, like I said, bullying. Bullying tends to be a bigger problem in middle school than it is maybe in elementary. And the bullying starts extending more because students have phones and they have access to social media. So the Emozi curriculum understands that and will help those students to develop strategies to combat that. So it's a little bit more specific to the needs of an adolescent as opposed to the needs of a younger child.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, Dan, I just want to say thank you very much for presenting Emozi to us and kind of giving us a quick look at that. I think we're going to be very happy to get going with it and kind of move forward. If there is any questions that pop up, please feel free to email me, and I can also send those to Diane, or we have Barb Duncan in our district who can also help. So, but yeah, again, thank you very much. And everyone at this point, I hope we enjoy the rest of our day, and we'll jump right into this when we get the Emozi packages.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. I know it's been a long day, and I appreciate it. Bye-bye. It's nice seeing everybody virtually.